Hello, and welcome to our fourth episode in our series, The End of the World as You Know It. I'm your guest lecturer, Dr. Scott McKenzie, and we are taking a look at the first chapter of the book of Revelation written by the Apostle John. What's unique about this book is the fact that John was being shown the last 7 years, or the last week of Daniel's 70th week prophecy, which, when I thought about it, reminded me of what Jesus told Peter about John. And I quote, "If I desire that he," being John, "remain till I come, what is that to you? You follow me." And now, in the book of Revelation, John was still alive when he was shown the return of Jesus, his second coming. How awesome. So with that said, let's discuss Revelation chapter 1, where John was a prisoner on the island of Patmos, under arrest for being the leader of an outlawed cult, Christianity. Now, there are teachers who want to place John's arrest as early as 64 AD, during Emperor Nero's reign and his persecution of the church. Yet the majority of scholars believe John was on the island of Patmos during the more oppressive reign of Emperor Domitian in the 90s AD. This later date was taught by early church fathers and other early church writers, as well as modern scholars like Dr. Charles Ryrie and others. Dr. Ryrie wrote, "The later date agrees better with the picture of complacency and defection of the churches listed in chapters 2 and 3. And I agree with that. And so with that said, we visit John, under arrest on the island of Patmos, a time when history tells you Emperor Domitian was persecuting the church. John called it tribulation, not to be confused with the coming tribulation we will discuss in this book. Now it was the Lord's day when Jesus arrived on Patmos with a loud voice sounding like a trumpet in chapter 1. And Jesus told John to write this book and give it to the 7 churches in Asia: Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. Also, John described in chapter 1 what Jesus looked like and what Jesus said. Jesus said, "I am he who lives and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of Hades and of death." And then he said, "Write the things which you have seen," referring to chapter 1 here, "and the things which are." I believe that refers to chapters 2 and 3 and the messages to the churches. "And the things which will take place after this," which I believe refers to chapter 4 to the end of the book of Revelation, chapter 22. So here you have John's marching orders. Write about things seen, things that are, and what will take place after, or the future. Again, the things seen referred to John, what John saw and heard when Jesus arrived on the island of Patmos. The things which are referred to the condition of the churches in Asia, which we will discuss later in chapters 2 and 3. The things that will take place after those churches are dealt with refer to John being raptured off the island of Patmos into heaven and shown the future. Again, please note, this book records the last week, or the last 7 years of that 70th week prophecy Gabriel gave to Daniel. Again, let me just say, the book of Revelation is the 70th week, and it's about Israel. It's for Israel. It's not a prophecy for the church. Remember, Gabriel told Daniel 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your city. The first 7 weeks or 49 years concerned the rebuilding of Jerusalem. The next 62 weeks or 434 years concluded with Messiah's death. Gabriel mentioned the destruction of Jerusalem, which would happen in 70 AD by the people from whom the Antichrist will come. The Antichrist who will rule a future new world order with its one world government. And that means there has been a pause in this prophecy. Only 69 weeks of it have been fulfilled. Yet now, because of the book of Revelation, we will know what will happen to Israel during the last week, that 70th week. It begins with supernatural judgments, real events, not yet recorded in human history. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode as we do a Reader's Digest condensed version of end time prophecy. Please look for episode 5 as we continue our study on the end of the world as you know it. Until then, as Jehovah Jesus said, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. I will come again, Jesus said, and receive you to myself. Sounds like Jesus was foretelling the rapture of the church the Apostle Paul prophesied about. So, until next time, this is Dr. Scott Mackenzie. Goodbye.